Well, we're going.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were going to get a 3-2-1. Okay.
No. What were we talking about?
We were talking about
The man in the
Eckhart
back.
Tolle.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's the like, I feel like that isn't, so there's all these books out there, mental health, that you could go down the rabbit hole. But the one thing that I found the best is just what he pitches.
For sure.
That's all you really need to know to get a control of your mind, is to observe it.
Mindfulness. Yeah.
I don't know, like what would be another way to try to think? Like,
Right. So
Well, and that's the
Go ahead.
Sorry. That's like the thing with what he's like talking about. It's like the absence of thought.
yeah.
That's what people like. That people don't understand what he's trying to say is like meditation is the absence of thought.
Right. Or,
Yeah.
You're not identifying your ego. You're like picturing your head of who you are with the things you're thinking.
Yeah.
And you can like look at them.
Make sure these are close. Like,
These are close to me
you
like
can
this.
push it back.
If you just stay kind of like consistent with it, like
Yeah.
5 inches,
Yeah,
you're
you can
good.
pull it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I'll tell you the most profound spiritual experience I ever had in my life was I was reading A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
That's when I first got sober.
Yeah.
In 2010, and I was on step 3, as it turns out. So it was just this holy,
Yeah.
collaboration of all these different things, and I had the biggest paradigm shift. And it was when he was talking about, in his book, he talks about looking at like the things around the room and seeing how much you really know about them,
Yeah.
and take the labels off. And I was looking at this water bottle, and I was just trying to clear my mind of thinking that it's a water bottle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't make a ton of sense when I say it, but it was like this profound,
Yeah.
like, okay, I really have no idea what's going on.
That's sick.
Yeah. You don't have to attach to form.
Right.
He talks about that. Like I know what you're talking about. He talked about a table too. Like I probably listened to I listened to New Earth and probably The Power of Now. I don't know. I mean, there's chapters in The Power of Now that I probably listened to 30 times just on, and because I'll just be like, I'll do it a lot when I'm working out, like if I'm weight training, and I'll just put on the same and that little voice he's got.
I know.
Yeah.
So calming.
Yeah, bro. Like it's
It's a trip.
but like I feel like what I've learned. And another dude, have you studied Springer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Michael Singer?
Yeah, Singer. My bad. Yeah, Michael Singer, Untethered Soul.
Oh, yeah. The Untethered Soul, and then his other one, The Surrender Experiment. Have you read that?
Bro.
Dude.
That's his story, right?
Yeah, and it's so dialed in, like just going with the flow of life,
That part where he's getting investigated, like his company is getting investigated by the FBI.
Yeah.
And he's like, what was cool, he's like, I realized that I just needed to be there because look how crazy of an experience this is, that the FBI, and that I'm in this crazy court case.
Yeah, and he's like, whatever's left of my ego that needs to be dissolved or whatever
Yeah.
was what he was going through in his mind when he was being investigated by the FBI after having no wrongdoing, right?
Yeah.
So
It was like his business partner.
yeah, one of those business guys that
Yeah, screwed him
I'm
over.
sure stole money, whatever the case
Right.
may be. But yeah, and it all turned out just fine for him. But the way that he was looking at it, and I think it was like right after that he wrote the book, or else
Yeah.
during.
Well, yeah, Untethered Soul. Yeah.
No, both.
Oh,
He
really?
wrote both, yeah, real quick, I think.
Yeah, it was like he got inspiration to write. Like what I got from the surrender experience was like, that's how he gathered the evidence or gathered the information to write The Untethered Soul or something.
Right.
Like it was kind of his story, wasn't
Yes.
it? Remember when he went to Mexico and meditated and that
Yep.
that whole deal.
And like his whole life, he had dreamed about writing at least The Untethered Soul, and then I think he wanted to write The Surrender Experiment as well.
Yeah.
Kind of tell the story of how he got there, but it's such a cool book. I mean, I read that probably a couple of years ago. What brought you into reading books like that? Like I always think, like when you told me that this morning when you rolled in, you're like, I was listening to Tolle here in the morning. My first thought was like, damn, dude, this dude wrestles with his mind. So much. Honestly, I would say it's gotten worse too over time. Like,
Yeah.
I've had phases. So this is what I was going to say just now, though. When I first read A New Earth or The Power of Now, I forget which one, but he talks about the pain body.
Yeah.
You know? And I kind of just glanced over that one because it wasn't really relevant to me.
Yeah.
And over the last year, 2 years, it's become super relevant. So I've been kind of going back into, okay, what's the pain body and what's happening? Because there's been so much of it. It's just been a hard couple of years, you know?
Yeah. Dude. Yeah. That's funny. I feel like it's getting worse for me too.
The monkey mind?
Well, yeah, just like, you have this picture of sobriety. It's like, you get some time, like what I have, 7 years. And then it just didn't seem, it seems like I almost got crazier. Like, well, not crazier, you help people get sober and you see them get super happy. I mean, like, I'll just be like, and they don't wrestle in their heads. And I'm like, damn, like, I got more time than this dude, and I still am not like,
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there's very little correlation between time and wisdom.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I went through the same thing. I mean, you and I have similar stories.
Right.
I had 9 years.
Right.
But then, like, I ended up relapsing really slow. Like, it was basically prescription medications,
Yeah.
Then slowly more and more of those, and then kratom was an issue. But I was holding on to this idea that I hadn't relapsed. It was so important to me to keep this sober date, right?
Yeah.
And then I spent 6 years trying to self-medicate my way out of it, and I'm still, like, if I look at the way that I view things now compared to even the last podcast I did like a year or two ago, my opinions have changed so much, you know, like and I don't know how much you want to go into this, but when I was, when I was originally got sober, I was completely abstinent, right?
Yeah.
No meds, no psychotropics, nothing. And then as I've tried to get sober since then, like when I'm on nothing, I go through the worst depressions and anxiety and stuff like that. So, like, I've definitely opened up my mind to medications and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't really even know where I land now as far as what is required other than being a good person,
Yeah.
I think the 12 steps, regardless, are pretty pure. I think they're a pretty solid way, as good as any, of of getting the ego in check,
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. So, like, what do you mean? So, like, this is day 6 for me getting off Lexapro. So I've been on Lexapro for 2.5 years, and I went on it 2.5 years ago. I was waking up with like felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest in the middle of the night.
yeah, okay,
And it like helped me, bro. But I've been on it, and I'm always tired. Like in the afternoon, bro, I need a nap. But yesterday, so this is day 6 of being off it. And I was on 20, I went down to 10 and was on 10 for like 3 weeks. And then I just completely pulled it out with 10.
Okay.
And I feel okay. I'm a little loose inside my head, I would say. Like I'm definitely not most stable right now.
Right.
But yesterday I met up with one of my buddies, and I hadn't seen him for a while, and he didn't really know about my last relapse, like with this whole deal with the kratom, and I was talking to him, and I started crying, like I couldn't get the story out, like and I realized I was like, damn, like, and it felt good. I was like a good cry, and I was like, damn, like that Lexapro has blocked me from feeling emotions
For sure, dude.
Like I hadn't cried like that. Like a good, happy cry.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was healthy. Like it was a healthy kind of experience.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so SSRIs have never worked for me. And the only thing that ends up happening is I just feel like numb,
Yeah.
like what you're talking about. Like I'm not feeling the ups or the downs, which I don't mind not feeling the downs, but I at least want to feel the ups.
Yeah.
And they just kind of make me robotic. But but now I'm on this, it's kind of a newer drug called Trintellix. And it's an SMS, not an SSRI. And I mean, it's hard for me to even tell if it's having an impact or, I'm doing so many things. I'm working the step, I'm doing all these other things in my life. And so it's hard to tell what's having the impact, know? But that's just how I do. I mean, I'm kind of always scattered and all over the place. So,
So do you struggle with, you think you have ADD?
oh, for sure.
Me too.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, because I was telling him about you, like you're an interesting dude. Like, well, no, I've been in some meetings with you, you know, where like you turn it on and you're like, I never seen anybody just be more, carry a room, and like you're with very high up people and you're like the smartest dude in the room. And I'm like, there was one time we were in a meeting and I was like, damn, this dude's just a drug addict. He's like putting it together right now. You know what I mean?
So sick.
So like, talk about, how do you do that? Like, so I was a vice principal.
Mm-hmm.
So for the past 3 years, but like, it's hard for me to be professional all the time. Like,
Right.
like I'd always end up saying something stupid. Like I had this one thing and I got in trouble for it, but like I saw a kid who I'd been working with, counting days with, quit smoking weed. And so I had a rapport with the kid, but it was like in the middle of the hall and it was in between passing periods and I hadn't seen him for a while. And I was like, hey, what up? And he's like, what up? And I'm like, how you doing with the weed? I just kind of said it out loud. And I'm a vice principal.
Right.
And like some other people heard it and then went and told, you know. And so like I get pulled in for a lot of stuff like where I'm not going to be a principal next year. I'm moving back into being like a strength coach and a teacher.
Okay.
But I struggle like maintaining a professionalism.
I do too. I am not the guy to help you with that.
Yeah.
I'm the worst. I mean, I'll curse. I wouldn't say that I'm the most professional, but as far as what you're talking about, when you hit that flow, you know, like it's kind of like what we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast is the key is getting outside of thought, right? Like allowing things to happen and to come up.
Yeah.
Like I read this book just the other day it's called Don't Believe Everything You Think.
Yeah.
Have you read that before?
I haven't. Is it good?
It is good. And it gives you kind of a different perspective on how to identify what, problematic thinking is versus thoughts versus like, intuition and that type of stuff.
Right.
But I know I can usually feel like when I'm on, like you mentioned, and it's because I'm not sitting here thinking about what I need to say or what I should say, that type of stuff.
Just letting it happen.
Yeah, just let it go and, have your,
So are you pretty discontent? Like is it, so I know you got a wife and kids, like, can you get into it? Like, I think my recovery is like, I'm always like, damn, why aren't I enjoying this more?
Yes.
You struggle with that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I'm working on that. I mean, I don't know what the solution is, Here's the thing is, I've got about 90 days now from the whole Kratom episode.
Yeah.
And it's been hard. And I always go back to that first experience when I had such a profound, spiritual kind of experience reading Eckhart Tolle. And I'm not having that experience this time around. It's a lot of work. It's much more of the educational variety. But I also look back at that time of my life when I got sober, I had already lost everything.
Yeah.
I had facing 20 felonies. I had, no job, no car, no girl, no friends, no money. I didn't have anything to lose.
Yeah.
And it was a lot easier to just kind of just dive in, right? Just completely change everything about me. And now, I mean, I have a family, like I have a mortgage, I've got a car, I've got the job, I've got the career, all those things. And so it's like a lot more fear of loss than I had the first time around.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big, I'm sure.
Damn.
Like we've put together pretty awesome lives.
Yeah.
And like thought of losing any part of that, it's kind of, it just hurts. So, but I would say that, I am discontent much more than I would like to be.
Yeah. So with the Kratom, you can talk about however you want to go into it. Like, so when I first got into it, I just got introduced to it through the gas station.
Mm-hmm. Same.
And it was those Feel Frees, like I don't know if you know what ones those are.
Oh, yeah.
They were on Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, like, I drank it and I didn't see what was on it. Like
So similar to my story,
a
too.
dude gave it to me. Like I was thinking, and he's like, these are just like the better than 5 Hour Energies, bro. You got to try them. And so I'm driving out and I just hit it and like, it, just nasty. I mean, you know how they taste.
Oh, yeah,
So just
awful.
like, but a part of me, when I drank it, I was like, damn, this is healthy. Because it tastes bad. There's no sugar, you know? And then 30 minutes later, bro, it was a warm embrace from God. And I went home that night, amazing with the kids,
Right.
jumping on the tramp. There was no discontent.
No.
You know? And I knew what it was by this point. Well, the next day, I do the LDS church and I teach. My calling is I teach once a month. It's called Elders Quorum. So I teach about, you know, it's just a lesson to a bunch of men. And I freaking was like, I was driving to church and I was like, this would be nice to have some kratom in my system to teach. So then I go have this, so you think, you know, have this amazing lesson. I've always used substances to enhance.
Yes.
I want to I want to be better at what I do. You know, it's never to numb. It's never to be like, oh, I just need to escape I want to be better, you know?
Right.
And dude, that kratom lit that up for me. And then, you know, then it went from 3 a day to 5 a day to 10 a day. And then I would go into detox at Michelle's. And then I come out, do all right, back up to 10. That happened 4 times all summer, you know? And then finally I had to go in and tell the school district and I just took a leave or whatever and then went into treatment.
Okay.
But
I didn't even know that about you.
Yeah, and then I got suspended, kicked out of here.
Okay.
Well, whatever, fired basically.
Right.
And then it was dark. But like I never been grabbed so hard. I mean, I used to do those blues, you know, the Roxys when they're in the Oxy. I mean, I had some pretty gnarly pill habits, you know. Like but this was like what do you think it was? Like, is it just the justification that it's from the gas station and it's legal?
That was big for me because, you know, I mean, my career and everything, doing illegal drugs would be a much bigger problem.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And I justified for sure. And like, if I go, I would have to go all the way back to like 7 years ago when I picked it up from the gas station. I didn't know it was kratom. Right. It was called the K-Chill.
Oh, the K-Chill. That's
that's the Maverick one.
Yeah, that's the Maverick one.
Yeah, and I got it at Maverick, and it worked really well. And so then I started getting more, right? And it was probably 2 weeks later that I went in, and they didn't have any. And I asked him, hey, do you have any more of those little K-Chill shots? And he turns around and goes, hey, do we have any more kratom shots? And that's when I realized, oh, no. Because I'd heard about kratom a little bit, right, in the recovery circles, but I didn't really know much about it.
Yeah.
But I knew that it was an issue, you know? And so I found out then I tried to just stop right then, and it lasted maybe half a day. Yeah. And at that point, it had gotten me. But have you tried the 7-0 tablets that have come out more recently?
No.
That's what I was talking about that I seen. I swear they're like, they're making synthetic 7-hydroxy. So it's like way more potent.
Super more. I mean,
is it?
Oh my God, dude. And like,
that's scary, bro.
It's super scary. It's super scary because like when I think about taking a kratom shot, I want to throw up. Yeah. But once they made these little tiny tablets, you know, and
it's a pill.
It's a pill. Yeah. And it's $10 or something like that. But I got to where I was taking quite a few of them. But I read, so once I got deep into it again, I read up on it a little bit, and something said that it binds to the receptors 4 times stronger than morphine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that checks out based on what I was experiencing. But it was the hardest detox. My God.
Like, I got like suicidal. Like not suicidal where like I was really gonna like do it, but I remember I just wanted like some car to hit me or something.
Oh, for sure. I've been there, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've never like had a plan, but like I never had more thoughts of like, please take me, God.
Yeah.
You know?
Just let me be done with this nonsense. Yeah. Totally, dude.
That's just sad.
Yeah, honestly. And like I kind of went through that last time I tried to get sober, and I was sober for quite a while, but that depression hit so hard. And for me, like, suicidal ideation is probably one of my biggest triggers, you know, like when you get to that point where it's like, I would rather die or get high.
Yeah.
You know, what's the better option, really?
Oh man.
Yeah. So
What's your depression look like when you're so it is when you get sober or whatever? What does your depression look like?
just
Like
complete
hopeless?
hopeless and just lack of ambition to do anything. You know, just want to lay around and just sleep as much as you can.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, my dad was diagnosed with bipolar, so I've wondered if there's some of that going on, you know, and that's kind of what I'm trying to help identify now. Like, I don't think I have bipolar. I think I just have some depression going on.
Yeah.
But, you know, if there's some genetic predisposition to it, like, I'd like to medicate appropriately.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you get super. So, how did you get off the kratom? So you got 90 days right now?
Yeah. I got off the kratom, so my wife had pretty much had enough, asked for a separation, you know?
Yeah.
And,
what behavior was she seeing that was?
I told her. I mean, I just told her I'd started taking these. Like, I've always been pretty transparent about it.
Yeah, me too.
Know? But yeah, I mean, I never thought that I'd push my wife this far, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, she's right, you know? And like, I mean, she wanted me to get clean, to be the dude she fell in love with, you know? Rather than this kind of messy other thing, you know? And so, from there, so I moved out into a buddy's basement just for a couple weeks, and then I went to detox and I went to treatment. And
Wow.
yeah, it was at Cirque for almost 40 days. But
Damn, and this is just recently.
that's recently, yeah.
Bro,
And,
this is like me and you have like the same story.
yeah. It's been a trudge, dude. And you know, I mean, I worked for myself, and so I had to make sure I got everything figured out before I left and went to treatment, you know. And so I got everything dialed in. The legislative session was finishing up, and I was like, okay, now I can take some time for me and focus on what's going on here, you know. And it was helpful.
Bro, isn't that wild how God uses people that have this disease to help people that have this disease?
Yeah.
So like he's using you, a flawed man, using me, a flawed man, Reichly, who like have this disease and this, and you're never really safe, like from the disease getting active again in your system, unless you put in the drive up here with Eckhart Tolle, the reading experience, the training. Like your whole day has to be filled with a way to put God as your drug in your system, so you're walking around that way.
Right.
Or you're susceptible to having the disease flare back up.
Yeah. And see, and my opinion on that has changed so much since my first time around too, because probably over half of the people that I'm close to that I originally got sober with have either drank or used cannabis or doing psychedelics or, you know, any one of a number of things or any couple of a number of things, and they're not blowing their lives up. So I don't know that I believe that it's for life. You know, I do think that it's possible to recover.
Yeah.
And that's just based on the evidence that I've seen. But, you know, I was definitely.
What do you think about weed and using it? So when I went and got a weed card this last summer when I was trying to, because always how I got off the blues or the Percocets was weed.
Really?
Weed's actually what kept me out of treatment because so it was interesting. Didn't work this last time though. I need to say that. But you know how weed makes you hit it, and then it gives you like a new awareness, and it depending on who you are, it can magnify your problems.
Dude, that's me. I hate weed.
So when I would smoke it or whatever,
it would show me, it would be like, damn, dude, look at what you're doing. You're manipulating doctors, you're doctor hopping. And it would scare me. It'd show me the truth. It'd be like, and so that paranoia would make it so I just wouldn't go pick it up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And so that was how weed always helped me not, not weird, but it wasn't a good feeling.
No. So I wonder if it would have done that for me too now.
Yeah.
But this summer I went and got a medical card to try to do the same thing. I did it legally and bro, it led me on the journey of like, I was convinced I was going to quit my job and just be a writer.
Nice.
I just wasn't, it led me on a weird, and then I still couldn't stop doing the kratom and this.
Oh, dude.
So I don't know. What do you think about weed?
So weed,
Especially nowadays.
I mean, honestly, I think it's a pretty safe alternative if that's what people are doing. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I
Yeah.
think it's going to probably get even more prevalent too. I mean, now they have like THC drinks and stuff, and I think it will probably, because I think alcohol is probably more harmful
Yeah.
than weed.
For sure.
And so,
I do too.
yeah, but I'll tell you my experience. I mean, weed makes me paranoid and self-critical, like you said.
Yeah.
Like that's the effect that it has. I don't get elated. I don't feel any better. Like it's like
It's
I feel
terrible.
like I'm
Yeah.
fucking up.
Yeah.
I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
feel
so,
that.
but I have a card too, and like it would help me sleep when I was doing all these other medications. So, I did get a card, and I helped. I mean, I kind of, well, I worked on getting it legalized in Utah.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't at the forefront of that by any stretch, but I definitely helped and wanted to see it. Like, I think we do a lot more damage to people by arresting them and throwing a bunch of charges at them than the drug actually does, you know, in most cases.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of what I've done is trying to kind of reform the criminal justice system, stop warehousing drug addicts, you know, focus on community-based care rather than incarceration, and give people options and ways out, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like, an interesting discussion's homelessness. I don't know if you want to go there. I went to Colorado, talked about this and walked around and observed, man. And the one thing that always came into my mind is like, if you make it too easy for people to be homeless, then it's like if my mom made it too easy for me to be a heroin addict in my basement, like then I would just stay there.
Right.
But then these people are mentally ill.
Yeah.
And they can't produce.
No.
So like, I don't honestly, is there even an answer to homelessness?
I mean, I don't know if there's an answer. I would say my personal opinion is throw all the services you can at them. I mean, they're sick, they're wounded, and I think, you know, society should take care of its broken.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if the goal is to get them unhomeless or to get them housed, then do that, you know.
Yeah.
But if a lot of these folks don't really want to be housed, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, there's also just a ton of addiction and mental illness and all these things that people are dealing with, and it's extraordinarily difficult what they're going through.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think throw as much care and support at them as you can.
Yeah.
You know, there's always the question of at what cost and la-di-da,
Right.
you know, but I think first and foremost, stop treating them like they're criminals.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and start focusing on helping rather than isolating and harming, you know.
Yeah. So when I was first getting into the church, there's homeless people all around, like the Salt Lake Temple, you know, and I was trying to find Christ. And so at the time I worked at the Huntsman Cancer Institute. So every morning on my way to Huntsman, I would stop at the temple and just walk around the grounds and just try to get spiritual and feel, you know, get something going before I went to work. And there was the same lady out right every morning I'd walk by, you know, and I'd give her money, and dude, bro, her face looked like leather. Like it was like so sunburned, and you could tell she wasn't all there, you know, like she had probably, schizophrenia
And I'll never forget, this old lady walks up to her and goes, "You need to get a job." Like said this older lady said it to this homeless lady. And I sat there for a minute and I thought, damn, dude, like you can't say that to someone, because you don't know if this girl on right here, this homeless lady right here, like she may have been raped her entire life.
Right.
She may have experienced so much trauma that she doesn't even have a chance. And you're going to tell her to get a job. And first off, she's not mentally capable enough to get a job.
Right. Right.
You know? And so I learned a lot from that. I
Yeah.
sat there that day and watched, and I was like, damn, like, I get it. I get the comment.
Right.
Like, yeah, go get a job. But like, it's heavier than that.
Oh, dude.
Don't you think?
Yeah. I think that says more about the old lady than it does about the homeless woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and if it was all that simple, like the answer is to get a job, you know. That's,
Hey, who's going to hire her?
right. And like, what can she do? What are her limitations? You know, I mean, we have good programs in place like voc rehab and stuff to help people get employed.
Yeah.
But the problems are so much deeper than that, you know? And like, I mean, who wants to live in a society where the entire focus is just get a job, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel that,
Yeah.
you know, there's so much more. Like, jobs are rarely what fulfill us.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do. I mean, mine has at times for sure.
You feel like do you carry around the mindset that you feel like you've been kind of called to the work you're involved in?
Yeah.
Like a spiritual calling, like your experience in the school of addiction and heroin and kratom and all this battle has led you into trying to help because your line of work's crazy, bro. And maybe you can talk a little more about it if you can, but like you're helping the substance abuser and like on a high level, like program level. Like, you know, we're right here on the front lines with the people that come in.
Right.
But you're helping people on that big level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and it's what's cool. So I'm a lobbyist. I don't know if we even said that. And honestly, lobbyists have a bad rap. So people can make assumptions based on that. But I've pretty much lobbied for behavioral health, and I got into it. I mean, the reason why I feel like I was kind of called to it is because I never would have guessed I would be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'd never had any aspirations to do that. Really even to be involved in politics. I was kind of shown the way by the people that were around me back when I was just doing what came up in my life and doing the next right thing.
Wow.
You know, and I mean, luckily I do have a background that gives me, I probably found the one job where my background gives me credibility.
Yeah.
You know, rather than an immediate termination.
You're right.
But what's been cool is I've helped work on some pretty significant things. Like if you look at the Justice Reinvestment Initiative or the TAM Medicaid expansion or any of these kind of big policy initiatives, you know, I was able to kind of use my story to point out some of the reasons why people are unable to get out of the system. You know, like, yeah. And we managed to, I mean, we dropped a lot of like sentences and like, you know, automatic sentencing, all that stuff that resulted in just warehousing drug addicts.
Yeah. You say warehousing, like just putting them in prison.
Yeah, putting them in jails and prisons.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you look at jails and prisons, like 60 to 80% of them have mental health and drug abuse issues.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of huge for me to see that, because my social group is all people in recovery, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I've sponsored people, like I'm taking new guys through the book and stuff like that. And so when I work on such a massive policy change like that, and then the result is the people I'm sponsoring are now facing misdemeanor charges instead of second-degree felonies, you know, and stuff like that. Like I get to see the actual effect and the impact.
Damn.
Yeah, in life. And so it's been a rad situation for sure.
Yeah, that's incredible. And you met some incredible people, haven't you? Like you get nervous.
Yeah.
Like when you got to go up and in front of all these smart.
Oh yeah.
and not that you're not smart, because I've seen you. You're like the smartest dude I know. But like you're this dude who's God's using, and you're in recovery, and you have this disease.
Yeah.
Like you get pretty nervous. And,
Oh yeah, for sure. And it depends on what the goal is and what, who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely do. I haven't achieved enlightenment where I can treat everybody the same.
yeah,
Like I definitely get nervous when they have authority and power and,
yeah,
so, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll ever get past that,
yeah,
but I've gotten good at telling my own story,
Yeah.
and what sucks is now the story's changed a little bit.
yeah. Me too.
Yeah, like everybody likes a second chance. People are less inclined on a third chance.
Yeah, but well, what about the pressure though? So then you stepped into, it's a pretty, I don't know, sounds like a pretty high pressure, similar to me. I had a lot. I like doing hands.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I walk into a room and I'm not on,
Yeah.
then I'm not, then people are going to be mad at me, or I'm not going to be looked upon as. So that's one of my things is like the thinking error that I carry around is like, all right, I'm going into this, I'm going to work with all these people. I need to be on, I start with anything I need to feel, but that's wrong. Like I can't always be perfectly on.
Right.
I just could show up and do the best I can.
For sure.
But I wonder if it's the same for you. Like, you're in these freaking high intensity where you got to go present in front of legislator, and like might be a little harder to stay like. It's not an excuse, but it might be harder. That's for a guy like you and me. That fear could, and that desire to be the best you can be. Ding! There's Kratom right up the street, and that might help me.
Yeah. Well, and so that's exactly what triggered me this last time. So I had to host, like a client was bringing up like 300 people to the Capitol, and I had to kind of speak, for like 15, 20 minutes or whatever. And so, and I had heard about these little tablets, right, at the smoke shop that just kind of help you chill. I probably knew that it was Kratom, but at the same time, I was like, if I don't know, I don't know. And so I tried, one of those, and it worked. The problem is it works.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, I feel like I'm on. I'm not tripping. I'm not nervous. I'm not, all those things. And, but oh my God, the addiction that comes in and getting off of it, like you said, it made you suicidal. Like it messed with my thoughts more than my feelings.
Yeah.
Kratom. And I think it's a lot more dangerous than is being let on, and it's legal.
Yeah.
I think we need to take a look at it and make sure that it should be legal, because in my opinion, and I'm not one to say criminalize drugs, right? Like, but I think having, kids being able to buy this in a smoke shop or a Maverick.
Yeah, a Maverick.
Maverick. Dude.
Yeah.
Kids seeing it.
Fucked.
What do you think? Where's it? Yeah. Do you think Kratom helps people?
So I've heard it pitched as a way to get off of opiates.
Yeah.
I've also heard it pitched as like a pre-workout and, other nonsense.
Yeah.
I don't think it helps people. And I think if it really is, like these 7-0 tablets, if they really are that much stronger than morphine.
And they're sold legally.
Yeah. I do think there's a use for them, right?
Right.
It's like painkillers, it's like opiates. Like there's a use for them.
Right.
But, being able to buy them at Maverick is a little bit
it's too accessible.
too accessible.
Like I used Kratom. I got through like a major injury and 2 surgeries without any opiates at all, but using Kratom.
Yeah.
And I did that because like I've had major opiate issues before that, and so I knew I didn't want to get a bunch of Roxys.
For sure.
I knew that withdrawing from that was going to be worse than Kratom. So like it, but then look where it landed me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a blessing, but
Right.
yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know if it helps people.
I think it's,
You just need to know what you're messing with.
At least that, right?
Yeah.
Because the way it is right now, it's not even run by the FDA, is it?
I don't know. I don't even know what I don't think so.
I think it's like a supplement, so it's not even really.
Yeah.
You don't even know how much is in there.
Yeah.
Probably safer than buying heroin. You know, but at the same time, like, and I remember that with the K-Chill shots. Like sometimes it just wouldn't affect me, and I would have to keep taking more. And I'm like, I wonder how much is actually in here. Like they even care.
Yeah, if it's consistent at all.
Yeah, and like if you're gonna do it like in a medical way or in that type of way, you want to know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah. So are you worried about this last relapse, about how people look like? I'm asking you because I'm asking me.
Yeah.
Like
So
what people like think about you, or I don't know. Are you worried about any of that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so over the last 6 years, I've tried to get sober. This is the third time.
Yeah.
The first two times, I mean, like I've represented probably 50 treatment centers. I've worked professionally with this entire industry.
Yeah.
And so the last two times I had to bail. Like I went to Mexico and did an Ibogaine ceremony the first time. The second time I went to California. Like I was not going to go somewhere here.
Yeah.
Because I hear the rumor mills. Like I know, like I hear all the time when people check into rehab.
Yeah.
HIPAA's a joke,
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. But this time I finally was just like, okay, like I've got to just be able to wear this on my sleeve because that's how it's worked for me in the past. Like I just, I don't need to have secrets. And so this time, even when I was like my last day at Cirque, I posted it on TikTok, and I have clients and people that watch my TikTok. And so, and I've heard about it from clients since then. And so far it's been a positive experience, but again, I've got 90 days, I don't know. And it's been difficult.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know, when I'll get past that fear of what people are saying, what people are thinking.
Yeah. I have that too.
Yeah.
When I went back into work, I was at one high school. I was at Northridge High School. And then I went into treatment. And when I got out of treatment, I went to a different high school. And I just, everybody kind of knew. It was like, oh, this guy came to us because he's out of rehab. But then you're right. When I just started owning it, talking to people about it, like, I don't know, man. I'm doing the best I can.
That's it. That's it. One of my clients pulled me aside. Last month, and she's like, hey, I saw your TikTok, and I just want you to know I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
And honestly, your struggles make you an even stronger advocate for us. And this is a pharmaceutical company. They manufacture Vivitrol and some other drugs, and so hearing that was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Like, okay, like pretty indicative that I'm doing the right thing.
Well, yeah. Now you know about Kratom. So you had the experience. I don't know. I look at it like that. Like now I know about Kratom. Another thing that it did for me is like I really think I'm powerless now. Mm-hmm. Like I never really kind of maybe bought into step one.
Okay.
Like I never was like, I was like, damn, like I could smoke weed when I go to an island or
right
on our anniversary. Maybe I'll drink with my wife and have,
Uh-huh.
But like there was always some back doors. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty powerless now.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what hit for me too. I did this whole thing in step one in Cirque, where you go back over your whole history and identify it. But powerlessness is one of those things that I still question.
Yeah.
Like if you look, I mean, Bill W. did psychedelics
Yeah.
after writing the big book,
Yeah.
And everybody in recovery is on some, like whether it's energy drinks and nicotine or, I mean, where do you draw the line on the mind altering substances?
Yeah.
I know what my limits are. I know I can't do Kratom like a gentleman.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also, like I said, I've seen a lot of people that have, especially psychedelics, like that seems to be.
I'm interested in psychedelics.
Yeah.
I'm interested in, what was that the ibogaine experience like?
Horrific, awful. No, but I was getting off a lot of drugs, right? I was getting off a lot of. They were all. I think that kratom and prescription medications, but I was getting off a lot.
Yeah.
And it was 2 weeks of just unholy hell, and like the ibogaine itself was horrific, but I had a great like year after, right?
Yeah.
Like I had to go through it. It almost felt like it condensed my withdrawals, so rather than withdrawing over a month, it was like a week.
Damn. You
But
just went in there, no detox, and that's where you detox?
That's where I detoxed. Yeah.
That
and
sounds terrible.
Yeah.
And you're on a psychedelic?
So ibogaine is a psychedelic, but it's not a fun one. It's pretty, I don't even know how to explain it. But at the end of that 2 weeks, I did the 5-MeO, the toad venom.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty powerful, cool experience. But then I went on this whole psychedelic journey where I was abusing all those,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you get like what ones were you abusing? Just like just mushrooms,
Ketamine, mushrooms, DMT. Let's see. Yeah, psilocybin.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay, so you started using them to like escape. And
Kind of. I mean, psychedelics are hard. Like you can't do psychedelics like you do other drugs. Like you can't do them and then go to work,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but I ended up wrecking my car after a ketamine treatment. And,
I don't like ketamine.
no, well, I did, but, man, I was, ketamine's a little scarier too. 'Cause
I
it's
don't really look at ketamine as a psychedelic, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Does it
and
take
it's
you, like-
addictive. Like it's actually addictive.
Yeah. What's DMT like?
So DMT was probably the coolest, but I didn't do it very many times. So there's NN DMT, and then there's 5-MeO DMT.
Right.
And, I was looking for that Mike Tyson experience where it just, probably a similar experience to what I had with Eckhart Tolle sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I was looking for the ego death, like they describe it. And I'll tell you, man, I've probably experienced the ego death since then in sobriety because everything that I thought I was suddenly shifted and changed, and because I was kind of the captain of recovery, like
Yeah.
I built my whole life off being an example of recovery.
Yeah.
And then I was using, I wasn't using heroin or meth or anything like that, but I was definitely as caught up as ever
Yeah.
in mind altering, whatever, So,
Damn, bro. I didn't know that.
yeah, that was, and actually I was having a good time in my life at that point, but I just took it too far, took it too far.
Yeah, someone brought up to me that I should do DMT to try, to have like a spiritual experience, like spiritual work, not just to do it, but like, and then I asked my wife if I should do it.
Yeah.
And she's just like, she was just like scared
Yeah.
that if I did it, like, what is that? I mean, it sounds scary. Like, I can't imagine that the people I've talked to,
It's a little scary.
they said that you've done it.
Oh yeah.
And they said that like you just like die,
Yeah. Well,
like mentally, like you give up. You're like, damn, I think I'm dead.
yeah.
Is that true?
That didn't
That's
happen
happened
for
to
me.
Yeah.
Did it?
I mean, at one DMT trip specifically, like I fucking thought I died.
Are we talking about 5-MeO?
Smoking it.
Smoking
No,
like
not
toad venom?
5-MeO.
The NN-DMT?
Like we extracted it from mimosa root bark.
Okay.
So that's not 5-MeO. That's,
Yeah.
They're just like the regular full-on fucking.
Yeah, well, and the people that I talked to had that experience on 5-MeO, and so that's what I was looking for, but it didn't really happen. I mean, it definitely took me somewhere, but didn't feel like I died.
Dude,
Didn't feel like I...
It's such a trip, bro. Like psychedelics and DMT specifically are pretty crazy.
Are they good? Like, what would be the benefit of like
in a recovery standpoint, if you got with, and it was like organized and you did it, how could it help my brain? That's the question I have.
I think
Is that a
there's
real
there's a lot that you could do for it, that it could do for you, but like also all of the stigmas and predispositions we have on like these experiences we hear about, they play a huge role in your active experience. So if you go into something expecting a certain outcome, that right there, that thought right there is gonna drive you to a different like location. Like there's a lot of like spiritual and mental preparation that goes into truly surrendering to what a psychedelic really has to offer you. And a lot of people just aren't capable of doing that.
Damn.
And they don't experience anything, bro.
Except like a high.
Yeah. Or a
low.
Barely. Yeah. Or a low. Yeah. Like I've had friends that like I've kind of like facilitated like DMT experiences for, because they're like, well, you're a fucking psychedelic guy, and like I'm scared or whatever, and I'm like, okay. And I've watched like 5-10 people just like not experience anything, like straight up smoke DMT and be like, I nothing happened.
It wouldn't allow it to happen.
Yeah, because they're just not ready for it, bro. Because they're like, dude, a true ego death is like, this isn't some idea that like, it's an idea we're talking about right now, but when you're faced with it, like really truly faced with it, bro, it takes like a straight up warrior of God to even see that shit through. Because like it's not not bullshit.
How would you act in this life? What happens if you come to experience the ego death and you participate now? And what's Dustin look like? What do you look like if there's no ego? Does that mean we just like we're less competitive?
I think it's like dying. I mean, I think, from at least from what I've heard described, is it's like you just lose all sense of self, you know? And so then it's just like lights. And I do think that there's something to that. I don't think, well, so I've heard it this way. So I believe that we have all the answers inside of us, right? To all the questions that we have. And psychedelics do a good job of thinning the gap between our minds and the answers, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. And I think that there is some value to that. I also don't think that I think that life is going to teach you what it needs to teach you anyway. And psychedelics are almost kind of like cheating. So it's like busting open the closet that's locked for a reason, Yeah. And so I've heard it that way too. But I do think that there's like when you say doing like a ceremony, that's how I think it has to be done. I think you need like an ayahuasca ceremony or like something with some structure, because I was just doing it at home, you know? And then I think at that point I'm either just looking to escape or I'm looking to feel a certain way or, whatever the case is, but I'm not really looking for what the spiritual element is going to teach me or show me. Yeah.
It is wild, so my higher power is Christ. I think he offers the same. He has a system in place, right? The repentance process. I like to even call it 12 steps, like the 12-step repentance process or whatever, however you want.
Same idea,
yeah, however you want to label it. But like, so like if you participate in Christ's system, he's trying to lead you to an ego death, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because he didn't have an ego. I mean, if you study the New Testament, how he just traveled life, there was no fear inside him.
For sure. And have you ever done anything on like the Course in Miracles?
No.
You heard about it? Oh, you got to check it out.
Really?
Eckhart Tolle refers to it a handful of times.
The Course of Miracles?
A Course in Miracles.
Oh, okay.
And it's pretty, it's a whole different perspective on Christ and the Christ mind. Like Jesus and Christ are two different things, right?
Right.
The Christ mind is basically like what like presence or whatever Eckhart describes it as, or but it's the higher mind, right?
Yeah.
And then our ego is the lower mind. And, but it's super mystical. which I love. I mean, I love that type of spirituality, and
Right.
I think a lot of things have been mistranslated in the Bible, and as a result, we have a lot of ego in religion.
Right.
And so I like the way that the Course of Miracles kind of breaks it down. But you should check it out. It's I've done the course. I haven't had the result because I've got, like you said, like that gnarly monkey mind that I've got to tame.
Yeah. Well, so yesterday I'm all over the place in my head, trapped in with just I go towards like mine can go towards like just pissed off resentment and like pinning myself against others, like
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And so I just took my dogs for a walk, and I brought this up on here before, and I just, the whole walk, I focused on no thinking and just staring and listening. And it's crazy what, like, and it was hard to break free from thought because it's like you're addicted to thinking at that point. And so I go on the walk, and a lot of it, I'll pick a landmark and I'll say, I'm going to make it to that spot with no thought. And I make it there, and I pick another one, and I pick another, and I keep doing that for an hour. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like but part of you doesn't want to stop thinking.
Right.
Part of you wants to keep digging in, and
Thinking you're getting
you
something
know what
out
I'm
of
saying?
it.
And you don't ever improve anything by thinking about it more.
No. And like for me, it's always I'm thinking about not thinking.
Yeah.
You know, like when I try to do that, it's like I'm still running around in my head about how I shouldn't be thinking, and like what does it look like to not think? Am I there?
That's the thing. That's the thing
funny.
with psychedelics is like psychedelics like show you like a roadmap. They put like a physical space in front of all of your senses that open up like a roadmap to, it's like you can attach a visual to not thinking. So it's like an actual space that
Right.
opens up, like
Okay.
a space,
Damn.
and you can see it with your eyes and feel it because it like the way it like wires your brain, it puts like an actual visual space that will open up. That is the absence of thought. That is God. So you're literally seeing God. But that's like some crazy shit people don't get.
Well, the problem is that after you have a psychedelic experience, then you have to keep trying. You have to keep practicing that new mindset.
Yeah.
For sure, you got to integrate it. Ram Dass talks about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Damn, me and you struggle.
We do a lot of seeking, huh?
You're on Ram Dass, like,
Yeah.
bro, that's funny.
Well, and Ram Dass talks about every time he would go on acid, he had to come back.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You know, and then he went and had his experience with Maharishi.
Yeah.
Maharishi,
Where he left.
Yeah, and apparently that was heavily sought after those days. I've heard Steve Jobs was trying to go be a pupil.
Was he?
I don't know if there's anything to that, but like, yeah, like have you ever read the autobiography of a yogi?
Yeah. I listened to that one.
Oh, yeah.
That one took a minute to get into.
Well, that one's got a ton of mysticism in it, more than like Eckhart Tolle or even Ram Dass. Like it's like straight up crazy, like miracle type stuff, you know?
Well, yeah, well, even when Ram Dass was going up and he was with those, at that place with all those yogis. Remember how the one thing that stood out for me with that was when he talked about how much they laughed.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'd never seen people just laugh about all the time, and they were sober. Did he get off? Oh, remember when he said that the guy had the guy take the acid?
Yeah, like 11 hits or something like that.
Yeah, and he
Maharaji, yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't even do anything to him.
Yeah. It's funny because I've taken 12 hits of acid and gotten nowhere too.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
too much.
But I wouldn't say that I'm that's the reason.
You shouldn't
I think I
need
just-
that much.
I know.
If you're eating that much, you don't have no business experiencing
For sure.
unless you're like a full-on fucking psychonaut, like
Well, and that
crazy for doing that.
I've only done acid a handful of times, and I've always taken a lot, and I've never gotten anywhere. So I just don't think it hits me. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay.
Ram Dass, like I studied him for a while.
Yeah,
I like him.
yeah.
He said some really good stuff, man. Is there, going back to like, isn't that, I mean, I guess there's different forms of selling it the same way. You have the DBT and all that. They're just selling what Tolle is saying in a different way, right? Do you think, or no?
As far as DBT,
Well,
you mean like
I just,
psychotherapy?
yeah, just like the way you should, because really all Tolle is saying is just stay right here and accept life.
Right, right. And I think that's the key.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's not that hard. I mean, it's the hardest. It's the high adventure experience of life is trying to stay there and have that type of acceptance.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, I mean, when you're like the man in the back, when you're
Yeah.
the higher self, when you're
Yeah.
the witness, that's the goal, is to be the witness, right? But we still have these egos, you know? And so like right now I'm doing a lot of therapy and all these different things, trying to dig up the trauma and stuff from the past
Yeah.
and identify what's happening. Like, why am I repeating the same pattern in my life?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that is all ego work. And I think
Yeah.
it's just as valid. I just think that what Eckhart Tolle is talking about is a place higher than that. And I want both, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're going to go be a monk in the woods, like we said earlier,
Yeah.
you've got to be able to participate in life,
Yeah.
you know. And so doing that work in psychotherapy in addition to the spiritual seeking, I think is key. But I could be wrong.
No. Do you want everybody to like you?
Yeah.
And you need that, like almost like me
Like
too.
I do I value myself based on what I think other people think of me.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks. I'm doing step 4 right now, and it's coming up all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Me too. Like it's almost like my self-worth. If like I've been on this worth thing, like how do you find that self-worth?
Yeah. And for me, it's called the looking glass self. I think George Cooley came up with it, but it's, I am what I think you think I am.
Yeah.
And that's it for me. And like,
Yeah.
you know, that's like narcissistic traits too. And like,
Yeah.
you know, I've wondered about that too. But I think the very fact that I would be willing to be diagnosed with narcissism means that I'm not one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that you would even bring it up.
Yeah.
I wondered about that too. Like
Yeah.
narcissistic behavior and
Well, I think everybody's got a certain amount of traits, a certain amount of narcissistic traits, but there's also like, I think
what
it's gotta be-
is narcissism? What does that look like in
couldn't
somebody?
tell you. I couldn't. I mean, you hear about it like slang term all the time, you know, like dating a narcissist and la-di-da, whoop-de-whoop. But there actually is, I think now in the DSM-5, there's actually a diagnosis for it. And I don't know what it looks like or like
Yeah.
what it means, but I think it's a personality disorder.
Yeah. Where you're like, it's probably just selfishness at a high level.
I mean, I asked Chad, it says narcissism is a personality trait characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep need for admiration,
Deep for admiration.
and a lack of empathy for others.
See, I don't have that.
Me neither.
Yeah, I experience a lot of empathy, but I do value myself based on what other people think about me.
Yeah.
That's what that says to me.
Self-importance is one for me.
Yeah.
I that was brought up in treatment last time. Like if I'm working on something, like you know, I could walk into some place and expect someone else to stop what they're doing and help me with my project.
Oh, okay.
That's a form of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not that I'm not kind or.
Right.
Like I think like, damn, let's get on board with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I'm the
this is
same
sick.
way.
This is sick. Like but that's really saying what they were just doing behind their computer.
It's less important.
Yeah. Or
Right.
like, I don't know, like, so the dog park I go to,
I don't put my leash on my dog, and you're supposed to put leashes. And people will come up to me and be like, "Hey, you gotta have a leash," and I'll just be like, "No,
No.
there it is." You know, so I'm more important than you. You know, there's a lot of that type of stuff with me.
Yeah.
But it was brought to my attention in treatment this last time that's one of my character defects.
Oh, really?
I work on it. But
I wonder if I have some of that. I don't think that I do, because I've been through this stuff and tried to identify.
yeah, you seem like you know who you are.
I wish.
But that's one for me. Another one is like if I present something, or I have an idea and people aren't that excited about it and they don't want to get on board, or they have another idea. I'll be like, your idea, like I'll leave and I'll go in my head about it and I'll just pick their idea apart. Stupid idea. What you're going about this is dumb. You guys have any of that, or am I just the crazy one here?
I judge everything everybody does.
Yeah, I do a lot of judgment.
But I can back. I'm learning. That's just one of the awareness things. I mean, now I'll just be like, all right, Dustin, just chill out. No,
Yeah.
Not everybody is going to get as excited about your ideas. You're not the only special snowflake on planet,
Yeah, I do know.
Another one that's been helping me is like, is this going to matter in 2 weeks?
Oh,
Is this little altercation that we're having or communication thing, like, is anyone even going to remember this in 2 weeks?
Dude, that's
If
fun.
not, then like, all right, just chill out.
Just chill. Yeah, that's fine. So I have something similar. My original sponsor used to always tell me, try to remember the problems you had a year ago, because I'll be sitting there something's just absolutely not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if I really try to think about the problems I had even a year ago, I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then this can't be that important because I won't remember it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Singer talks about, we're just digging into these books.
Yeah.
But like the spinning planet, he's like, dude, we're all just a bunch of people on this spinning planet brushing up
tiny.
against each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what does this really matter?
Yeah.
I've tried to get into that zone, but it doesn't work for me.
Me neither.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, can I really just be a speck on this planet? Because it doesn't really do anything to help my perspective. Clearly does for him.
Still gotta eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't help me either, but I like it.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. I think he says every time he goes through a doorway, he tries to remember that we're just a bunch of, stardust.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. What's it say in the big book? Acceptance is accepting
solution.
is the solution to all our problems today, or something like that.
Yeah. That's in one of the stories in the back.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to that. I mean, honestly, I think if you can legitimately live the serenity prayer, you don't have to do the 12 steps or the repentance process. If you can live by the golden rule and do the serenity prayer, that's the key.
That's it.
I think that's it.
Sums it up. Anybody who's listening, dude, pull up the serenity. It's true.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I'm glad you're doing. I feel, because you kept saying in our text messages, you're like, man, me and your story. I hadn't yet really known what has been going on with you, but like, damn, man, like we're kind of in the same.
Yeah. We're two peas in a pod, dude. That's why I wanted to come do this, because I'm like, well, man, if I can talk to anybody openly, Dustin knows, and
you feel good, like, about where you're headed. I mean, are you all right?
Yeah, I don't know where I'm headed.
Yeah,
like I know that I know how to do the next right thing.
Yeah,
and there's got to be some bliss in that, in being in a spot where I'm like, okay, I don't know what's next, but but I mean, I still have my family, I still have work, like I still have things to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know, my perception has definitely shifted a lot over the last few years, and so it won't look the same as it has before, I don't think.
Yeah.
But being okay with that, I think, is the key.
How's your wife's relationship?
Good.
Yeah.
Much better now. I mean, she really just wanted me to go to treatment,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think, of course she doesn't want a separation really, or like any of that, but she's tried to help me in her ways so many times.
Yeah.
it was finally like, okay, you've got to figure this out, you know?
Yeah.
And now, like, I mean, we're doing like couples therapy and you know, working on things, but no, I wouldn't say we've ever been in a better spot.
Yeah. My wife said to me, and dude, I mean, it sounds like similar. I've always been open with my wife. Like, she knows who I am. She knew that I was doing the kratom, and but she said to me, she's like, if you don't do something, like, I'm gonna have to leave you. And I was like, that hit me. I was like, you're my angel. Like, I don't know if I can live
Right.
without this girl. You know what I mean? Like,
and I have this deep-seated fear of abandonment that I've
Yeah.
identified in step 4 in therapy. Like, you know, the core of a lot of things are fear of abandonment, fear of not being good enough. And so that kind of hit all my fears when that happened.
bro, when I was going off to treatment, hopefully I don't start crying because like I'm feeling, but so I didn't think it was affecting my kids. I just didn't. I have an 18-year-old, 15, and then a 7-year-old. I thought I was just cool. And like, so when my buddy was picking me up and I was getting ready to leave, or I can't remember if it was the last time and I was saying bye to my daughter, and she's 18, and her eyes were filled with water, like she was crying.
Oh, wow.
And I hadn't seen that in her yet. Like, yeah. I didn't, but I saw on her face, I was like, damn, this is affecting her.
Yeah.
And I honestly was done with kratom right then.
Right.
But like, I couldn't say that. I'd be like, I'm done. That no one's going to believe me.
Yeah.
But I honestly, so when I think about, when I drive by the Maverick or the Sinclair up here, and it comes into my head, like, come on, like, I just picture her face with those tears, and I stay there for a little bit, as long as I can. And it knocks it down. Cause like, I'm not interested in my daughter crying like that again. For me, you know, I'm not interested in having that effect on my kids and my wife.
Right.
But sometimes that's still not powerful enough. That's what sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think anything that is like a deterrent like that, I don't know if it's powerful enough.
Yeah.
Anything that is like, oh, it would harm this so much if I do this. There's got to be an element of like, if I don't, there's a positive element, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Rather than staying sober for all the negative reasons.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Yeah. And finding that has been an effort for me.
That's what's worked best for me recently. Because like when I first got into recovery, it was like I was losing fucking everything. In a bad spot with my partner and everything. And now when I like have those thoughts, I'm like, well, like, think of all the good shit that I'll lose.
Yeah.
Like the ability to be here.
Yeah.
To do this as much as you've helped me, and like I'm so invested now in sobriety that like I think you made me just realize that.
Me
that
too.
I do focus on the positive things. I'm like, yeah,
It's not enough to stay there with the darkness.
Yeah.
Well, I think you go there with the dark. Like, my therapist would be like, go to the smell, the nasty parts of it, and stay there. But then maybe it is. Look at my life. I have a beautiful life in sobriety, and it goes away if I participate.
Well, and I think being discontent for too long, I think, is dangerous. You know, like, got to find something that gives me excitement, ambition. You know, and that's where I've been having a hard time lately. Is like, okay, what do I get excited about? You know,
bro, you kept this place going. Why can't you get excited about that?
I do get excited about that, but like, even things that I like enjoy doing, you know, like going golfing or like going snowboarding, like they feel like work sometimes. And when that happens, it's like, okay, what can I do for myself?
Yeah.
You know?
Wow, that's me too. I don't like to do anything.
I know, dude. That's a hard spot to be, like that apathy.
Yeah.
And so I mean, that's where I'm kind of just focusing down, like, okay, what's the next right thing to do? You know, let me work through the steps again. Let me do therapy. Like, what is going to get me there?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of flying blind right now. But, stuff like this, just talking half the time, dude.
Yeah. You struggle doing stuff with I just asking, do you struggle hanging out with your family? Like, say you got to go on a vacation with your family. Are you excited about that vacation, or is it there's a little bit of discontent about the idea of a vacation?
I wouldn't say there's discontent. I mean, I really enjoy watching my kids be happy,
Yeah.
So like on a vacation, like there's that. But of course, at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, the amount of work it's going to take to get us through the airport, all that stuff. All that stuff comes up too. But I can tell you, like, I have noticed that it's just my family is not enough. Like, I have to have stuff like this.
Yeah.
I have to have
too.
other elements of my life. And, sometimes it makes me feel guilty saying that. Like,
Me too.
You feel like you shouldn't say that, but I don't think it's a secret. I think it's, it's pretty well known that, especially as men, like, we need to have a couple things to stay fulfilled.
Yeah.
And like for me, and like I'm always so jealous of my wife because like she's such an incredible mother.
Yeah, mine too.
It's like her calling. You know? And like everything that she does, like that's the priority, that's the focus. And I'm like, man, I wish I could get the fulfillment.
Yeah.
That she gets on that, and for me though, that we have this, generational. Like I'm the provider. I'm the head of household. Like I have to cover all these bases before I can even look at what I want to do. I have to have everything in order first. And that's not the right way to look at it, I don't think. I think you've got to be much more of a team, especially these days.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife. I've seen you. I know. I feel like I know your wife. I mean, I don't know her, but I've seen her on your posts and stuff with your kids and stuff. And
yeah, she's incredible.
I asked you that question because my kids have been my family. The family moment. I always want to be. I feel like I'm like I need to be better. I need to be a better dad. I'm not.
I do that.
And so it's almost like my family sometimes is a trigger. Like I want to take something to be there with them.
Show up 100%.
Yeah. Enhance it. Like, with my little boy, like it'll be better if I take one of these Kratos. You know what I mean? And which is a lie, man.
It is a lie.
Because if you go back and you get present with those kids and get right there and become a 7-year-old with him, then it's fun.
Right.
So I don't know, man, but me and you are so similar because it's the same. Like I'm trying to find something. I don't really like golf. I
used to like golf and I don't either anymore. I mean, I don't dislike it, but it's not like, oh, nice day, go play 9.
Yeah. Every time I golf, I feel fucking stupid. I'm like, what am I doing?
Oh yeah, I suck. There's no question. I'm
like
not a good golfer.
To even be good, I need to be doing this like once a week.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, I just would rather go play music. Like,
See, but you have that though. See, I don't have that. What would I rather do?
Have you ever gotten into writing?
No,
bro. Writing, like these books I've written and stuff. Like they're not for anybody else, but for me, really. I mean, I don't really push them. But like, if I didn't have writing, because I would be in a bad place. I wonder if you should get into writing, where you freaking have you have an iPad and you go. Like this morning before I came here, I got some caffeine and then I went to a cemetery, parked my truck under a tree, roll down the windows, put on some soundtrack music, so it's like pretty loud, and then I just dump my thoughts out about I'll think of I'll be like, all right, like some of the stuff I learned from you today and this conversation, like I'll write. So the one I'm working on now it's called The Man in the Back Letters, and it's a dude who relapsed on kratom, and then went back out and got into fentanyl, overdosed and died, passed back through the veil. Christ was there waiting for him. He picked him up, threw him over his shoulder, carried him into one of his many rehabs, went inside of the rehab, worked the steps, other man in the back disciples
helped him recover, and now he's in God's rehab writing these letters.
Okay.
So every letter that I'm writing, it says, "Dear student," and then it's a letter, and then it's your true friend, the man in the back.
Okay.
So it's just a series of letters from the man in the back.
Yeah.
And it's been sick, dude. Like you
I
know,
can see that.
like, I don't know, like maybe because the way you speak and how your thoughts, I bet you're really good at writing. And you don't even need to be perfect with the punctuation or anything.
Yeah.
When you're first doing it, I dump my thoughts out. I could care less what punctuation. It's just going at maybe. And then it's like then you want to go back through it. Then I'll go back through it and freaking edit.
Right.
That's pretty sick, but that's helped me, bro.
That's funny. That's come up a couple times lately. So
I could just tell by the way you speak and like how much you've read and stuff that writing would be a good outlet for you. I don't know.
I also have a terrible memory.
Me too.
So yeah.
I don't think you do, bro.
No, I do.
No.
It's ever since I got in that accident on ketamine, I swear, my memory's just been like foggy. Used to be good.
It sounds like you remember all the things you need to remember, like from Tolle and Singer. And
Those profound ones. Yeah.
okay. Wow, man. I appreciate you, bro. Though, and I want you to know, you should think about this place when you get low. Like, dude, we got a sick little thing going here.
Yeah.
And
Seems like it.
It really is. You know, I can't even believe it.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean as far as like this goes, or like the whole SOAR?
The SOAR.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't even believe how it's going and like how many people it's helping. And the biggest thing about SOAR, and you can jump in, is I think that we hold on to alumni so well, and it's a student to coach model. So like, people can come in, get sober, like a guy like Reichly, and then he helps the next dude get sober. I mean, it's like and so then the next person comes in, and you got 40 men and women that just surround this person.
Yeah, dude, it's beautiful.
And
it's like the AA way. It's the originally intended with AA.
And
how long have you been around?
A year and a half.
No, almost a year.
Almost a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was this your brainchild, the podcast?
No, this is.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, it was funny. And then so I bought all this stuff, and I was like, I had no idea how to do anything. Like, I just went and got a Best Buy credit card.
Yeah.
It's just impulsive getting sober, And I was like, I needed something. I wanted to have cool conversations. I don't even care if anyone watches it.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it.
But this has helped me today, And so then I was talking to him. He's like, bro, I could figure it. He comes up here and just figures all this out because he's a musician.
Okay.
So like he's been
Really?
Yeah, he's a musician. So he knows how to like, I don't know how you're so smart, but
I don't know.
he figured it all out.
Well, nice, dude. I love it. I love the setup. It feels super professional, like I said.
Yeah, it's nice. It's sick. I was stoked when I seen it. I was like, "Oh, bro, I got you." And the video editing part too is something I wanted to get into. So it's like perfect, and a perfect thing for me to be involved in. A perfect way for me to give back and like stay involved in SOAR.
So
like
he shattered his leg, hucking a cliff, like a massive cliff at Snow Basin. He's this big snowboarder.
Okay,
like his leg is. Would you say you're kind of like, he's not handicapped, but like he's not going to be, he walks with a limp probably for the rest of your life,
it's
right?
Permanently altered for sure.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, dude.
That's
and you're a snowboarder?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can still get up there though, can't you?
Yeah, I can ride.
Yeah.
It hurts like fuck. But I love it too much to not.
Yeah.
Just
but
go fast.
so the gym stuff's hard for him. But and so this for me and him has been good for us both.
Yeah. Big time.
Well, dude, if I can help in any way on this stuff, let me know.
No, we'll just have you on again.
Yeah.
You watch Joe Rogan?
Sometimes.
Well, so he'll just have the same dudes on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm going.
Yeah.
Like this was a sick conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so we'll just do it again and just keep rolling
keep
and like
going.
talk about how things are going in our recovery, and then that's how we want to do it.
I love
just
that,
want to
dude.
talk to people, you know.
Yeah, well, you're good at it, man. I mean, I've seen little clips of yours that you posted online.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I've seen a whole podcast, but
Yeah.
but I will.
Dude,
Yeah.
they're good. I get a ton out of this. Just
Me
sitting
too.
here listening to these
I have too,
way
honestly.
deeper dives, dude. Like, because
Yeah.
you can run a group and listen to 5 minutes of this person's life,
Yeah.
5 minutes here and there, but like sitting back listening to you talk to people
Yeah.
with the craziest like lives and
Well,
like,
and
the-
you have
the-
you can identify, at least
Yeah.
with me. I mean,
Yeah.
you and I have very similar histories. So
I
it's
didn't
like,
realize you've been going through all that. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's
that must
fine,
have been but it just I know how you feel, and you've been you're trying to help people, and then you're struggling. Like I know what you're feeling, because that's the same thing with me. I mean, I relapsed, what was it, in March, dude, and I tried to, and then the ego came. I was like, well, I started this.
Yeah.
You guys are kicking me out.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bro, imagine how dark I was. I was so mad at Frank.
Yeah.
But look, Frank, that I put Frank in a hard position.
Yeah.
Bro, like I helped Frank get sober. He's my best friend, and he
Yeah.
had to kick me out. The person who started this, and me and him been building this thing.
Yeah,
And he had to call. I look back. I'm like, damn, that must have been hard for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bet.
He had to call me up and be like, hey, you can't come back to SOAR. And then they drafted this big letter from like the board,
yeah.
and I had to sign it.
Oh, just a kick
bro.
to the ego.
But like, it's like if they didn't do that, like
Yeah.
it woke me up. I was like, I lost my job
Yeah.
at this place that I love more than,
Yeah. That you started.
Yeah.
Dude. I mean, you and I met 6 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was when you just switched it over to SOAR. It used to be WAR.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've definitely had some successes,
Oh, bro. Like, I appreciate you. Like, we talk about you a lot.
Dude.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I love you guys.
Yeah. Like, so you should, when you go dark, just remember, dude, like, you got this. You should call me.
Yeah,
And we'll just,
I will. I'll start
Yeah.
texting you too,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to rebuild community.
yeah.
Because like you were saying, like I love being the dude that everybody asks for help.
Yeah.
I have a hard time asking for help.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, like that's my jam. When people are calling me for help on stuff, it just lifts me. But when
Yeah.
I need help, dude, oh my god, it's
Yeah.
like pulling teeth.
Yeah, bro. You're helping. What you've done is good work for us, bro.
Yeah, well, thank
Like,
you. Thank you.
we're getting a lot of people sober. I mean,
I love it, man.
and we got our kids stuff too, like that's sick, like that you're helping.
Yeah,
it's-
I walked past 5 or 6 people getting sober downstairs when I got here,
yeah,
doing workouts.
and there was some dude. Yeah, so our group would go this morning. We usually go from 8 to 11, but they're all up camping. They went up to this dude in our group owns property up in Logan.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they all went camping, and there was a small group here last night that I worked with, but most of them are all going up there tonight.
Okay,
So that's where everybody's at. So we do a lot of that. We just got back from the Grand Canyon.
nice, dude.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys really have expanded all of what you're doing.
Well, yeah, because of the help with the funding from you, like,
Yeah,
and
I think.
bro,
I can
and
do
just
more,
being able
too.
to like we're about to let this girl in. We can scholarship. We rarely tell anybody. We rarely say, like, if someone comes in and they have no money, we rarely say
can't
you
help you.
can't come.
Right,
Like,
Yeah.
right. You guys will figure out a way.
yeah, we just scholarship them, and they're usually really good for the group.
yeah,
Like we got
something
this,
about it.
Yeah, we got this girl probably coming in, and like she's gonna be like, I'm excited for her.
Yeah,
Because there's people out there who want to get sober, bro, so bad. And if they're gonna choose to do SOAR, which is a harder program, like I'm gonna like the first day they come, they might throw up. Like they're gonna train, and
yeah,
they usually get into it,
Yeah.
and it's
dude. I've been doing it down at FTR in Salt Lake,
yeah,
and I'm like sore still.
yeah.
Yeah,
Bro, I love FTR. I was always a fan of Ian. Like, because him and I were kind of starting it. I started War in 2010. I think he started it in 2012. And like, I was always watching him, and I just loved him, dude. And I still talk. We text all the time. I talked to him last week on the phone. But that dude, he's an artist.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I'll tell you, Vicky. So like, you know, being in that position and handing off an operation like that.
Yeah.
You've got to have the right person to hand it off to.
Yeah.
And it's so rare.
Right.
And man, Vicky is crushing it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know her. I need to go give her a hug.
Yeah, too.
I don't know her very well. I've met her, but she
Yeah.
sounds cool.
Oh yeah, she's rad. Yeah. And she's got that place running like a well-oiled machine, just from, you know, a third party's perspective.
Yeah.
So, and I think that will be hard in that position, right? Like you're being asked to take on this whole thing that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big down there too. Like it's
like 3 counties too. They're now in Utah County and Summit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, dude.
Yeah, it's rad.
Well, thank you, bro.
Of course,
We'll
man.
do
It's
it
been a
again.
pleasure.
Appreciate you driving up. He's from Draper, so we had to drive all the way up.
Yeah, dude,
At
I'll
least
do
you
it
got
again,
some
too.
Tole in.
Yeah, get some more on the way home.
Thanks, bro.
All right, thanks, guys.